Good evening, everyone. I am so happy because I have Addy back with me. Oh my gosh, I'm just so thrilled. Oh my gosh, it's been quite a few months since we've had
Yes.
you on. I'm just so thankful you're back. Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you for having me. I'm like trying to get interviews. Like, I'm like, no, I'm like, don't you guys know how fabulous I am? Like in person, like, just get me in here. Like,
Yeah,
I will wow you.
yeah.
But
I'll tell them. Have them come to me. I will tell them.
I'm like, I got references, y'all. You know?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
Yes, you do.
right. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. We've got some friends here already. Good evening, Terry. Hey, Kristen. Hello. Oh, yes, Terry. Oh, thank you. You did a reminder. Good job, Terry. Terry must have done a reminder on Discord. She's so good.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. We know you are fabulously fabulous. Yeah. Perfect. Well, tell us what's been going on since March. Oh wait, we're still saying hi. Sorry. Oh, people are gonna keep coming in. I'm getting distracted. So the last time we saw you, we
Yeah.
got to talk about Miss Thorne. Why is this being weird? Does it look normal to you? It looks
It
weird to
looks
me.
normal. It has that sort of like a gold background situation, but it looks cool.
Why is it? Oh, geez, Louise. Now that looks normal. Okay. All right. It's better now. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. We're having technical difficulties, or maybe it's just me. Hopefully, it's just me. Um, in any case, what I was attempting to say, the last time we had you on, we were
Yeah.
talking about the first book in the Troublemakers trilogy, Miss
Yes.
Thornfield's Daring Bargain.
Yes.
Which, I mean, so exciting. And now here we are on the eve of the release of the second book in the trilogy,
Book
Miss
2, baby.
Mason's Secret Book. Yes, that's right.
Yep.
So tell us, how have you been? What have you been up to? Have you just been getting ready for release date? What's been going on since
Oh
March?
my gosh. So I've been, since Miss Thornfield, I was actually finishing up the edits for book 2. And then I was finishing writing book 3, which nearly destroyed me. So it took so much energy and like just to turn in the manuscript to the editor. And it was very, because sometimes the books get like sort of, the characters get unexpectedly like deep, like realize there's like way more going on there. Then I'm like, oh no. And then I have to go back and sort of like mine for feelings. And then I realize that I'm really a Virgo and I'm just sort of like a Vulcan and I just don't have these, like, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, so it's just like, I'm not that good at being like introspective emotionally in myself. So trying to do it for characters is like the devil. So that took a while. And then while I was doing that, it was, just work, like getting ready for my busy season at work, which kind of just kicked off. And it was that, and then it was a lot of like promotional stuff. So there were a lot of book signings. There were a lot of me like traveling all over the place. May was absolutely crazy. I had a book signing in North Carolina. I took the train up with my dad, and then I came back and I realized I had like 3 signings in 1 month. And I was just like, what am I doing? And I was so tired. And they kept popping up, and I was like, okay. And then like I got there, and I was just like, why? I want to sleep. Like I don't want to be doing anything. It was weird. It was like the editing part was done, but then like I had created work for myself. So now I also have like 2 other signings where I'm just like, at this point I have money for like 1. But like I can wait to do another, like I can wait on the other one and then do it then. And there's a part of me that's like, you could just do it and go. And then there's the other part of me that's like, you need to stop. Like you need to stop signing yourself up for things. And I'm like, but it's like I have FOMO with respect to like just promotion. And I just end up like, that's how I ended up with 3 things like in 1 month, which is, as an introvert, is just not what I need to be doing at all. Like I get so tired. So it's like you really need to, but
I can imagine.
Right.
Well, it's funny though, because I feel like at the book signings, everyone's an introvert. When I went to a Polycon, everyone I talked to, they're like, "I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert. I'm like, okay, well, we're all here together. It's
Right.
okay."
So here's the thing with introverts. So like
Yes.
when you and here's the difference between when you're an introvert and you're like a reader attending an event versus
Oh,
like an author, right?
okay, that's a good point. That's gonna be
Trickier.
different.
Right. So like when you're a reader, right, and you're going to one of these events, you can
Yeah,
choose when to socialize and when not to. You can
that is
choose when to turn on that energy and engage with people. And you can just put
right.
on your headphones and just read a book in the corner like a weirdo, and nobody's gonna judge you at all because again, everybody's an introvert, right?
Yes, yes.
The difference is when you're an author and you are there for publicity,
Yeah,
marketing, and to
yeah,
sell books, if you're
right.
allowed to sell books, right? If you have that stuff, you have to be sort of in that high mode the whole time you are public facing. The only time you don't have that face on is when you're like in the bathroom or you're with the other authors. And even then, it's tricky because you're also networking with the other authors who are also
Oh,
introverts and not used to being around people. So it's just a different energy, and sometimes it's not as bad, right? Sometimes it's fine, and you're sort of, I mean, it sounds sort of like woo-wee, but you're kind of vibing with people, and like sometimes you pick up on like a mutual energy, and it's fine
yeah,
because
yeah.
you're connecting with the person, so you're not depleting or like putting out a lot of energy. But sometimes like it's just not picking up until you're just like you're sitting there smiling and your face hurts and like you keep having to manufacture this cheerfulness for people, and
Oh,
it can be, and that is what makes it draining.
draining.
So then by the
Yeah.
end of it you're just sort of like, if I have to smile at one more person, I'm gonna drive this car to like a beach. Like you need to be by yourself. So like it worked for me because I would just be by myself at home because there's nobody here but me, right? So then I would just go into my I would just sort of crawl into my apartment, like lug my stuff up the stairs, and then
Yeah,
just be there. And just
yeah.
feel, just turn off everything, just like close all the blinds. I don't even want the stray cats outside looking at me. I don't want nobody, nobody look at me, nobody make me have to be like, hi. Like, I don't want to say hi to anybody at all.
Yeah.
So it depends. But like, it's fun. But the thing is, like, introverts are tricky because, like, if introverts find their people, you don't
Yes.
know that they're introverts.
That's true. That's true.
We be
That's a
sneaky.
good point.
So it's just that, like, the only difference is that, like, if you find your people and, like, you overextend yourself, like, you overstimulate yourself, you do
Yeah.
need like a solid like hour, half hour to just like face the wall and like not talk to anybody.
Oh,
But
I
like,
know.
which is fine. But like, and you can find it. Like, if you have a hotel room or something, you just go to the room and you're just like, just turn off the lights and just sit on the bed and like disassociate, right? But if it's like, yeah, it's. I mean, Teeny Lit was the first one where it was like a major thing where I was straight up public facing and I was signing and I was doing all these things. And like there wasn't a lot of time between like sometimes like panels and like going in there, like there just wasn't a lot of time to do it. So after, there were times when I just sort of was like, it was very weird because everybody was talking, just like you say, right? Like authors are talking to authors are networking, they're like authors talking to readers who are like they've been there before and they're like everybody knows everybody. And I was the weirdo sitting at the bar with a notebook and a pen because I was just like, and I had like my headphones, and I was about to be that weirdo who was just sitting down there disassociating and eating a hamburger because I was hungry. And I was like, no. And then it was so funny because then like a whole bunch of people who had been hanging out with me before were just like, Addie, don't sit by yourself. And I was just like, I'm just not really. And they were like, no, we know you don't want to talk to anybody, but you don't have to sit by yourself and do that. Just come here, be with us,
I'm
and then don't talk to anybody. And I was like, really? They were like, yeah, eat your hamburger. Nobody's gonna ask you any questions. Just sit here and eat. And I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. That's so
Yeah.
cute. We've got people who totally get it too. Kristen's like, yes, I say a group on introverts don't always make an extrovert. You need one in the group to be the hype person. This is so me. I can be up on that high, but I need my timeouts to just to people. And I'm just me.
Yeah.
I think nobody here would think that Terry's an introvert. That is very true, Terry.
Yeah.
But she totally gets you, Addy.
It's hard. And especially when you have like high energy, people are like, "Oh, she's not an introvert," and I'm just like, I'm on the edge, is where I am, and I just don't want I don't want new readers to come back and be like, "She was horrible. Did you see how mean she was?" I was like, "No." I'm like, don't cancel me. I haven't gotten started yet. You know, like a whole situation. They're like, I'm a good person. I just need a minute. Like, can I breathe? You know. It's
That's
rough.
great. So you went to Steamy Lit.
Well,
and
no, that was last year. Steamy Lit hasn't happened this year yet. So
what have you been? Which 3 have you been to?
So it was BookNet Fest, which was in Orlando, which was fantastic. That was a good one, and then that one was the one that popped up at the last minute, just like the end of May, and I was just like, sure, I'll do panels and sell books. It's fine. And then the one before that was the book tour, and that was in Raleigh, which was fantastic.
Nice.
And then I think the one before that was the For the Dreamers book fair, and that was in Orlando. And I got invited to that through like the New Romantic. That's this sort of like indie bookstore in Orlando. So I got
cool.
so I got in there. So that was me. And then what was it? January, February, March, April. In April, I had the Tarpon Springs book fair, which was a learning experience, but I learned my lesson. You see this tan I have going on? That's from April, because I roasted myself in the Florida sun for I don't even know how many hours. It started around, I think it was like 12, and it didn't end until like 5 or 6 p.m. And so apparently I sometimes I read things and I make things up and I don't realize that I've done it until I'm like too far gone to like change course. So I thought that the invite said, or like the sheet that they give you to sort of prepare, said that they would provide tables and chairs for the authors. If you were like a regular vendor, they weren't. But if you were an author, you were, which is why you had to specify that you were an author.
Yeah.
When I got there and everybody was looking at me like I was smoking some good stuff, and I went back to the form to try to find this information to prove this thing that I swear to God I've read. Like, if you gave me a Bible, I would have sworn up and down. It was not there. And that was when I realized that I had apparently manufactured this sentence out of thin air, and it was not there, or I was combining things. And I did not realize that I was supposed to bring it myself. So then I had to rely on the kindness of strangers. And to be fair to them, they were amazing. And they found me a chair for me and my friend. And they got me a table. But everybody had tents because it's Florida. And it doesn't matter that it's April. The sun's trying to murder you. And so my friend and I did not have a tent. And nobody had a tent available. But we brought parasols like real old ladies, because we knew the sun was going to be out. So we are sitting there with a fan and a parasol, just like, hey guys, what's up? And I have like my trusty water bottle, which is honest to God what kept me alive the whole time. When I was done with that, now to be fair to myself and to be fair to both of us, shout out to Kiri, we both managed to sell a good amount, so it was fantastic. But my God, when we were done with that, we were so tired. We didn't even, and I think we were like dehydrated. I don't know if we had, I don't think we had heat stroke. I don't think it was that bad, but it was definitely like, it was a lot. Because when we were done, we just wanted water. We weren't hungry. We didn't want anything. We were just sitting down there, just like staring into the abyss. Like, like
I cannot
that was a lot.
imagine.
Yo,
Yeah.
that Korean sunscreen that I had, it worked. It earned its keep that day, because that sun was straight up trying to snatch my soul out of my body, like Ursula getting Ariel's voice. It was just like, come on. And I was like, wait, no, I need it. You know, it was horrible.
Oh,
Right,
she said I was gonna
emergency
say you
umbrella. I had 2 parasols that I got from the Ren Fest, and I had it never occurred to me that that's what I'd be using it for, but I sure did. But the lesson was,
Yes.
as an author, I need to invest in a table, a folding table, a portable table, and folding chairs, because there are a lot of events. Like, there was an event that was in like I think it was Charleston, that they invited me to, and they were like, you need your own table and chairs. And I was just like, I don't got no table and chairs. But now, after that thing in Tarpon Springs, I was like, the shame of it. I was like, I can't do this again. It was a big public embarrassment of all these people looking at me like, where the hell did you get that information? And I was just like, oh God, is it just me? So I can't do that. So I got a table and chairs. I have 2 chairs and 1 table. And I'm waiting to get, I found like really cool, like this tent that I have saved on Amazon, and I'm like, I'm coming for you, tent, because it's like, it's so cool. It has like drapes and stuff, and it has like internal like panels where you can have like a window if you want or not. And I'm just like, we're doing this so that the next time Tarpon Springs is doing their book fair, I'm like, I'm ready for you. Or like the next time somebody's like, hey, we have an event that you can come to and sell books, but you know, you need a tent and a table and chair. I'll be like, I got that. I'm going. Everything's fine, you know? But that was not this year. So far.
Wow.
But yeah, so those were the adventures that I was having on the weekend when I was not working or editing like a maniac. That's what I've been doing. So
you've been a busy lady. Very busy.
Yeah. So now I'm just like, okay. And there's a part of me that's sort of not, there's like low-grade anxiety over the fact that I don't really have anything to do right now. So I'm trying to like fill my schedule, which is a bad idea because I need a break. But I don't know how to have a break now that I've been busy for like 2 months.
Man, can I relate to that?
Right? I'm like,
yeah, we don't know what to do with ourselves. Yeah.
Right. That's what my sister, she's always like, I sat down and then she's like, I feel like I did something wrong. And I was like, no, you can sit in your house. And she's just like, you don't understand. I don't sit. And I'm just like, I don't stand up is what I don't do. So like now it's like, now it's just, oh, it's an awkward thing.
Isn't that?
Now we're just here.
Between the 2 of you, you've got like a happy medium going.
Yeah.
One sits, one stands.
Yeah. There are times when I will just I just gotta like kick her in the shins and be like, sit down. And then I do it. And then we sort of switch off, you know, is the plan.
Yes. Ooh, Kristen has a great idea. Get a neck fan. Mine saved me in the Philippines this spring. Oh.
Yeah. There was one event where the person did give me one of those like you just hold it, and I was just like, but there's like those, I have to.
Yes, I've seen those. Yes.
So many fans. Yeah. I gotta invest if I'm gonna be outside, I can't be fighting for my life like that. I can't. So
I know. It's so funny.
It's not
I'm
a good look.
Great ideas. Tomorrow I'm supposed to be at field day for my older son, and they have places inside, outside, in the shade, and I'm always like crossing my fingers that wherever they put me will be somewhere nice. And they always put me like in the middle of a field with bugs in the sun. I'm ready. I'm just feeling like that's gonna happen again. I'm gonna
I'm not a field person. Like
a field person. No. I want to be inside. All the parents fight for those spots, of course.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I want air conditioning, and I want large French windows for me to observe nature from behind.
Yes.
I want to see. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not trying to frolic in the fields. I'm not Julie Andrews. What is this?
Exactly. Exactly. Terry says, "My husband has one of those neck fans because he has 1 mile to walk from his bus stop to our house. He likes it a lot." Wow.
That's a lot.
Has it finally gotten warm there, Terry? She lives in Canada, and it's just
Oh my
been
God.
cold. Even in the beginning of June, it's been cold.
Right.
So, she hasn't really
Meanwhile,
needed that.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
exactly. Meanwhile,
Meanwhile in
it's like
Florida, it's like
yeah.
it's hitting
Yeah,
like 90s over here, and we've already started hibernating.
yeah, oh,
Yeah,
mm-mm.
we're not playing those games. No.
Humidity has just kicked in. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, I just can't do it. I can't do
Good
it.
luck, guys.
Tell us about because I will forget. We'll somehow pass an hour and I'll forget to I'll be like, "Oh, yeah, you have a book."
Yeah.
I can see myself doing that talking to you because I just enjoy it so much, I'll just forget. Um, tell us about so guys, if I haven't said it yet, and for anybody that just popped in, we are getting a chance to talk to Addy on the eve of her release of this new book. So, yay! We get to be the first ones to congratulate her on her new book release, which I'm
Thank
super
you.
excited about. Tell us about the second book in the Troublemakers trilogy.
Okay, so this one is following. I don't know if any of you guys have gotten a chance to read the first book yet, but in the first book you meet Regina and Leo. Regina is one of Ada's friends, and she's the one that's engaged to a baron, and she's been engaged to a baron since she was 14. And her guy Leo is the PI who's helping them find Richard, Ada's brother, in book one. He's also friends with,
Right.
and he's friends with Richard. Like he's friends with he's friends with Richard and Basil, but he's the one. He's in this one. So what had happened is Regina. So Regina is she really is just she just wants to get it over with. She just wants to be married already, because she's been engaged since she was 14 years old, 14 or 15 years old, and all of her fiancés have died thus far before they married her. And so now she's sort of
And there's
like,
like 4, right? There were 4 that died.
yeah, it was like, yeah. It was like, yeah, I can't remember whether in the book it's like 3 or 4. This is a problem when you're rushing. But it's definitely, it's more than 1, which is what it should have been. So it's just like, it's too many of them are just
Too
they're
many.
just
Some number that's too many.
it's too many. They're dropping like flies at this point. So it's like 4 of them that are just like so far, and she's just sitting there and she's just like, what the absolute hell is going on over here? And and she's not excited about it. She's not relishing the idea, because she knows that the person that she ends up with, it's gonna be some snotty person from the town who's like expecting to inherit, and they probably don't want her as their baroness, but at this point, for financial reasons, they don't have a choice. So they have to stick with
Mhm.
her. And she knows they don't like it. So she's braced for her life to not be awesome. And she knows that it's just going to be sort of her taking one for the team in order to protect her mother and protect her little sister, and like help her father sort of make sure that they have the best future.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's what she's doing. And she knows that. She knows that that's what it's going to be. And she's sort
Mm.
of emotionally and mentally prepared for that as well as she can be. And then, but the problem is for her that Leo keeps popping up. And the first time he pops up for her in this book is when essentially the third or fourth fiance dies. And she's just
Oh.
like, I don't, and she's trying to stay on the straight and narrow. She's trying to stay focused. She doesn't want to let her family down. But he is just everywhere. And he's not doing it on purpose. This is just sort of circumstance and also proximity, because she, like, he's friends with Richard. Richard's out and about town. Richard moves in very similar, not exactly the same circles, but because he has like a good amount of money and he doesn't actually have to be he's a man of leisure. He's a gentleman. So he's out at the opera, he's out at ball, he's out doing, his sister's connected to the aristocracy. So he's in a lot of the places that she and her family are in. And she's just like, this was so much easier when my mom wouldn't let me leave the house and I was just home, but I didn't have to worry.
Yeah.
So like low-key, she's like, this is why my mother didn't let me leave the house, because there were men like this, looking like this, just running around England. And like, I didn't have to worry about this when I couldn't see him. So it's a problem.
Right.
It's like he's becoming a problem. And so that, and she's sort of like white knuckling it through this season, just like waiting to find out who the next guy is, who the next
Right.
fiance is, and hoping that she can get married off to this sucker before he dies, or before she like ends up like in a carriage with Leo going somewhere when it's a horrible mistake, right? So that's her plan. And then poor Leo is just trying to mind his business, really. Like he's kind of low-key fascinated by Regina because she is so much, there's so much of her that like on the face of it, he's like, I kind of like, she doesn't necessarily make sense. So he is sort of like, he's curious about her at first.
Yeah.
And then he sort of finds out that he is this lost heir to this barony. And he has no idea what the hell they're talking about. And he's also not super excited about the prospect of being a baron, which is you think would be surprising, because it's like, sure, like doesn't want to have a title? And he's just like, but I don't want to have to deal. I think like the story behind how he becomes this baron is also like, it's sad. And it's, it has a lot of like betrayal, and it has a lot of like family just turning their back and like cutting people off and like doing all these things. And he's just like, I don't, and for him, to him, that's not a legacy that he wants to continue. That's not a family that he wants to be part of. And so to him, he's like, well, if all your descendants died off, clearly somebody was mad at you, and that was what was supposed to happen. Like, why I gotta get involved in here to help you maintain a name that clearly should have died out.
Right.
That's just divine intervention at that point. And, but then there's Regina. And he's like, I mean, it would be nice if, she's engaged to a baron. Like, I could be a baron, maybe, And then he figures out like the terms. And so at first he's like, well, maybe that's a thing. And then he finds out the terms of her engagement, and he realizes, oh no, she's like specifically tied to that barony. Like you can't just swap out barons. And then he's just like, okay. And then he figures out it's his baron. It's his barony that she's engaged to. And the heir that she thinks that she's going to have to marry is not actually the heir, it's him.
What?
So then it's this whole, so then he has to sort of figure out whether he wants to take that step, because when he takes that step, it's going to paint a target for both of them.
I love this.
Exactly. Exactly. Right? Let's get engaged. Yeah, marry me, you fool. Exactly. She's like, where is this guy? So now it's sort of, I don't want your best lady. Exactly. So now it's sort of, and she has no idea that all of this is going on. And so at first he's sort of trying to figure out, like, is this something that he wants to take on? Is this something that's going to be worth it for him? Is this something that she even wants? Is this something that she's like what is actually going on here? And then, of course, they're the pairing, right? So like once they make that once they take that step, then it's sort of like the aftermath, and like it's sort of dealing with the Ton and figuring out their relationship and how they're going to tackle these people. and how
Mm.
he is going to be able to embody this role without it warping him into somebody that he doesn't recognize, right? Which is
Wow.
like his
Yeah.
big terror, the thing that he doesn't want, because he's like, no, I'm me and I like who I am and I'm proud of who I am and I'm proud of the people who raised me, the people who made me this way. I'm proud of who I am. I don't want to be somebody else. And I don't feel the need to run away from my identity as what I've made myself, right?
Right,
So
right.
so it's like he doesn't want to have to trade one for the other. And it's so both of them are actually, that is the sort of situation. She's been groomed her whole life to exchange who she is for this opportunity. And he is being handed this opportunity and he's just like, absolutely not. I
Mm,
refuse
mm.
to exchange who I am in order to take this because it's not worth it to me. Because
Yeah.
it's just him and his mom. He doesn't have like this other stuff that's going on here.
Mm.
So it's
Wow.
so yeah, they're sort of both dealing with it, but both of them have taken very opposite approaches to it. And
Yeah.
then both of them have to be on the same, at some point, both of them have to get on the same page about how they're going to do this because they're there. They're already in the position. And it's like, okay, well, y'all gotta move. So
Yeah.
that's book
Yeah.
2, right?
I love it. Now I see what you mean when you were talking about having to deal with the deep emotions.
Yeah,
'Cause yeah,
yeah, yeah.
this is intense.
It showed up at
Good.
the like this is it kind of sneaks up on me and then I'm like, oh wait, no, but there's like deeper themes here and there's like all the kind of other stuff going on. I'm like, man, now I gotta go back and I gotta figure out where they are emotionally. And I always end up finding these sort of hidden little things
Yeah.
weaving all the way through. And then I find it and then I'm just like, oh crap, now I have to go back and see how that like connect these threads. So people don't think they're having some weird like disembodied experience. It can't be like it can't be like some kind of like horrible unedited James Joyce novel, you know. So that's if you know, you know.
Right,
Um
right, 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 right.
yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh, I love
yeah.
it. Well, this is and this is part of the flame line, which
Yes.
explain to those who are not super familiar with Dragon Blade, what does the flame line mean or
The
division? I think they
flame
call it divisions.
so the flame line is the spicy line. The flame line is where so I have to have you sort of quantitatively you have to have a minimum of 3 sex scenes to get into
Okay.
the flame line. So you can have no less than 3 sex scenes. You can have more, but you cannot have less.
And now was that were you
I'm about at 3. No, because I actually I just end up around there. 3 is like weirdly like my good number. Like 3 is a good number for me. Because to me, I'm like, because especially because I feel like you can get really bogged down with there are very few, even in a romance novel, there are very few the sex scenes are supposed to be part of the character development. They're supposed to
right.
be
Yeah.
chained, like sort of built into this character journey. And
Yes.
I feel like after 3 sex scenes, like unless like they're sex workers or something, right? Exactly. Not yet. Well, let me put it this way: it's not on the page if it's 3 in one day. It's just like you can decide how many they having in your mind, whatever, right? But on the page, it's 3.
Right.
Okay, so but yeah, it just I feel like sometimes like after I feel like after 3 and or at least in my stuff after 3 it's like no you good like you got it, you got the idea, you
We
know.
get it. We see
Yeah,
how they are
yeah,
together.
like I mean in
Yeah.
one season with the Duke it ended up being 4, but that was like a max out and that was also like over 90K, so it's
Oh, yeah.
like it's a longer book, so I'm just like no y'all look good, you dirty birdies. Like, you know.
How many chili peppers is needed to set the book on fire?
Right, exactly. So I give it like 3 chili peppers, you
Now,
know? But
do you set out to write for the flame line, or does it just that naturally seems like where it fits for you, and that's how you
that
want
it
it?
just fit there. She just said, "Oh," she just said, "Do you have sex?" Because her thing was like, "Do you have is it she being
Catherine
Catherine
Levac.
was
Yeah.
yeah." who she was asking me, she was like, do you do open door sex scenes? And I'm like, yes. She goes, okay, like how many sex scenes on average do you tend to write? And I'm like, it's about three to four. And she was just like, okay, we're gonna put you in the flame line. And I was like, fine.
There you go.
Works for me. You know? So, but yeah. So that's just one of those weird things that you sort of figure out and you're like, okay. But a lot of people are just like, what does the flame mean? And I'm like, they're like, did you put that there? And I'm like, no, that's the line. That's the imprint. And they're like, oh, okay.
I didn't even
Randomly putting
notice.
fire on books.
Yeah, that's right. I did not even notice, and I had seen plenty of Dragon Blade, but not until you had specifically said it, I'm like, "Oh, yeah."
Mhm.
And then I saw all the different divisions that they have,
Yeah.
like original and legends for people that have written for more than 15 years, and then the
Yeah.
Heartline for LGBTQIA+,
Yep.
which has one book right now.
Yeah.
Every time I look, it's just the one. And
Yeah.
then there's, the Moonrise is interesting because that's like paranormal, and I feel
Yes.
like a lot I've seen other books in Dragon Blade that are set under original that are like paranormal, so I don't know if they're gonna move them or I don't know.
Yeah.
But is there another division that you might see yourself writing with later down the line?
I could see myself doing a paranormal one. I'm not really interested. No offense to anybody. I'm not really
Yes, you
interested
did.
in doing.
Yeah,
Like, I have
no.
no shade for any division of romance, historical or otherwise. But
Yeah.
I think like maybe I like the paranormal because I don't have to do as much. You always have to do a certain level of world building, but you don't have to do as much as if it's like fantasy. Because fantasy, you literally have to sort of create an entire world and like language and all this crap from scratch. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
yo, I already have to research train lines. Like, I don't have time to do everything.
Yes. Yeah, I get lost sometimes. I wanna read more fantasy, and then I'm like, "Wow, I can't keep up
Yeah.
with what's happening."
Yeah. But like paranormal is a lot easier because it could just be, it could be set in like the regular world. And then just some random thing happens, and all of a sudden there's like a werewolf, and you're like, okay, you know, right?
We don't need to get into the geopolitics of the werewolves, we don't
At
do
all,
that.
at
Yeah.
all. And I don't plan on doing that. So it's just like, I mean, at all. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they don't even all have to be werewolfs. This could be a trilogy of like different ones. Like, I don't even know how
Right.
many I want to do, but I mean, that's about as far into that. So I can see the paranormal, I can see the Moonrise one being a thing. But outside of that, I'm probably gonna just be in the flame. In the
Yeah.
flames. I'll just be in the flames over here.
I'll be in the flames. Jerry goes, "The shapeshifter's almost like contemporary most of the time." That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so
Oh,
true. It's so true. So speaking of, you mentioned like if you did a trilogy, we've certainly talked about this when you were on last, and then we've got this one,
yep.
which, which, no offense, but I feel like I'm having trouble seeing the title and the character with
That's
all
on
those.
purpose. It's for you. No. So yeah. So I haven't revealed the cover yet because I'm being cagey and mysterious.
I
But
love
that
it. I
is
love
book
it.
but that is book
When you're
three.
gonna. Yes, tell us anything you want to tell us about that, including when is the cover reveal going to be? I'm curious.
So as far as I'm aware, this one comes out in September. So
Oh,
I'm probably gonna drop the cover August,
nice.
if not a little earlier. But just get August so I can start, doing my thing. It also depends on how early in September. If it's like this one and it's sort of like the first week in September, then I need to give myself a little more than a month because I have to schedule all the takeovers, I have to do all the stuff, I have to do the grand reveal. So it may be July, maybe like late July. It just depends. But
Nice.
I also like for them to give me, like, I like for them to actually sort of like tell me. I think a lot of times I do my cover reveal um when they post the link on like Amazon and like Goodreads, like when it's like available. Like the pre-order link, like
Oh,
when it posts, that's normally when I'm just like, okay, hey guys. But then I can
yeah.
like tell them. But I don't know. I'm sort of like figuring it out. So I don't know. Maybe it'll just be like when I've given it my final edits for this book, I'll be like, okay, you're all here. It's officially done. Take it.
Look at
You know?
this. Look at this. Just look at
But
it.
I'm super excited for book 3, quite frankly, because my favorite is, although I love Richard. I mean, I love Leo, and I love Basil, my 2 babies. I love my baby Basil. But Richard is my favorite because he's Richard is based on my a character. He's sort of loosely based on a character in one of my favorite C dramas, one of my favorite Chinese dramas. And he is,
Really?
yeah, because I mean, like not exactly like him, but there's a certain quality that that character had that I just find wildly attractive, but I really wanted
Yeah.
that in Richard.
What's the name of the drama
Oh, this
of
was the
the
one that I was talking to you about like
Yeah.
the last time. So
Yeah.
the Rise of
Yeah.
Phoenixes. So the
Yes.
character Ningyi, like he is Richard is like I wanted that sort of vibe. He is not now Ningyi
Yeah.
is not on good terms with any of his siblings. So that sibling energy is not that is not
Yeah.
in Richard. That is not from that character. But
Yeah.
I really wanted because the character in the show he's very mischievous. He's definitely a prankster. He definitely teases people. He loves teasing people. He loves like playing games, like he loves like sort of like stirring the pot a little bit, especially when he's having fun. He's just like, okay, this is gonna be he's a real brat. But at the same time, he's so much fun. But at the same time, he feels things very deeply, and he has a sort of he conceals more than he shows, ultimately. So even the people who
Mm.
sort of think that they know him very well, there's stuff in the middle that they miss because he's sort of he's showing them what he's comfortable with showing them. And he's constantly like
Mm.
assessing and thinking, and like there's so much going on internally with the character that when you get to that as the show goes on, you sort of figure out like there's a lot going on with this dude. And there's a lot that sort of gets unearthed as you go, and there's this very rich like emotional life in him. And I loved the duality of him, like the way he wants connection so badly, but he's also like very untrusting because the people around him tend to be like jerks, right? So he's figured
Well,
that
yeah.
part out. So he's like, I'm not trusting y'all willy-nilly, like y'all have no behavior, right? And then when he and the sort of um what is the word? The vulnerability that's a part of him, like he's like there's a real vulnerability in the character, but at the same time, he can be very ruthless. He can be very like focused. Like
Mm.
or like the way he goes back and forth between those two things. It's something that I love. Like I was just like, oh my God, this guy's fantastic. I think this is amazing. And Richard also has that quality. Like those are the qualities that I wanted Richard to have. Like I wanted him to be a person who, even with the people that he loves the most, and because in a way it's sort of protecting them from whatever's going on inside. Like if he doesn't know how to handle it, he doesn't want to just have it out here like springing it on people willy-nilly, right? But at the same
Mm.
time, he's sort of handling everything around him, and he's always playing chess. Like he's always seeing how things are moving, and so tricky to get it's very tricky to throw him for a loop because he's already seen you coming. He knows what you're doing. He's already assessed you. He already knows what he needs to do with you. It's very
Mm.
similar
Mm.
to like Leo. Like Leo and Richard are very similar in that sense that they're both observers. They both they are generally very accurate judges of character. Like, just because they're friends with you doesn't mean or just because they're around you doesn't mean they like you. They can be friendly with just about anybody, but they already know that you're playing games. Like, they're not like, however much you think they're trusting you, they're not. Because they already know that you're shady. So, like, Richard is like that. But at the same time, there is a want to be able to be open with somebody and to have that kind of closeness and have that sort of warm family that he grew up with, right?
Yeah.
And so, and there's he's also a very deeply loyal person. He's a very warm person. He can seem very calculating, but he's not. Like, you see him, like, and in book 1, you see him with his sister, and he's like, everything is about his sister. Like, he does not play any games when it comes to his sister. And he wants to give her all these things. Like, he knows he's sort of replacing, like, their parents, and it really matters to him that he embodies this role fully for her, and that he makes sure that she, always feels loved and always feels like this is home for her. Like, that's important to him. And it would be important to him for every member of his family. It's important to him that all of them feel that. Because he doesn't always feel it, right? But so, like, he's like writing him was like rough writing his story with Ellie was tricky, because I could find myself like getting lost in his side and then me pulling back and being like, there are 2 people in this book. It is not I'm like, he is not the main character, Addy. Like,
the story of Richard.
Technically, Ellie is the main character. Like, will you please pull yourself back and remember who you're talking to? And I would have to like do that, and then dig really. And Ellie was the one where I had to dig really deeply and sort of figure out like what is going on her side, and what does she feel, and like what are her motivations, and how is she like what is driving how she reacts to things. Because she's also a very tricky character, where both of them are characters where when you're reading about them from other people's perspectives, you think you know who they are. And then you get to their perspective and you're just like, oh, that's different. Like, I don't think anybody is really expecting Richard to be as sort of like angsty as he is. I think people are expecting him, or is like moody. Like, I think they're expecting like that from him. I think they're expecting him to be more of a trickster. But that's on the outside, right? And then for Ellie, from book 1, like, she's been slapping people to the ground. Like, she's not playing any games with these people. Like, you don't get the impression that she would feel sort of anxious about her place in society or acceptance. You wouldn't imagine that that's a problem that she would have. And it is. She's intensely vulnerable, but she's also very self-conscious about herself and her body, and like the aspects of herself that she knows are not like considered perfect or not considered desirable. Like, she's very intensely aware of it. And it affects how she moves. It affects how she sees herself. And it's not something that she, again, shows to people. But it is something that it is always there. And it's sort of, and that's kind of what I wanted with them, is sort of these 2 people who've kind of known each other for so long, but they don't actually fully know what's going on behind the scenes, even though they're so familiar with each other and they've been around each other for so long. It's still like, you're still discovering the person. And I was just like, I had a lot of fun writing that. And I had fun writing this guy who just, he seems to have like a plan for everybody until her. He has no plan for her. He does not know.
I love it.
He got 0 plans for her. And they're both equally stubborn. They're equally like determined. Like, once they've decided on something, like, good luck getting them moving off of that. off that point. But he's just like, she just comes straight at him and he's just like, what the hell is going on? Like, he's looking around, he's like, help, emergency. Did y'all know she was out here? Like, what's happening over here? So that's kind of Richard. And of course, Basil and Leo are looking at him like, yeah, we did see that. How did you not see that? Like, how did you miss her?
I love it.
I love that stuff. I was like, there has to be one confounding variable, and which is not necessarily the definition of a confounding variable, but he is straight up confounded. Like, and it has to be her. Like, she has to be the confounder, right?
Yeah, clearly you have a great affinity for Richard. Do you ever see yourself writing like a spin-off, like where like a second generation where he gets to be the father figure, or have you even thought about that?
So I have I always have a trilogy. I'm always plotting something. So like I have one where I wanted to do a spin-off where it's like sort of like governesses. I wanted to focus on that because the first book, sort of the thing that sort of cinches them together is this school for the girls. And there's a character that's introduced in Regine. Well, actually you meet her in book 1. But I didn't originally plan on her being in like book 2 or 3. She was just supposed to be this character that was in book 1 because she had to be. And then she sort of kept coming up and I was just like, I think I want her. I think I want her to have a book. And then I wanted her to, and then I decided that I kind of wanted to do a sort of like winter romance situation. Not really winter, but more like an autumn situation. With her and another character who, again, was only supposed to she was just supposed to be there. And then, so that one is going to be, and then I was thinking, what if that could split a spin-off another one? Now, I don't know how far into the future it's going to be, but you're definitely going to see, I don't know how far in the future it's going to be because in my timeline, it needs to be a little soon. But I don't have a problem like returning to it and like having it be like, and having, or like writing another thing and just having it be in that world because where they exist, right? Because he would be absolute fun. I did put a little bit in the epilogue with him and with them and their kids. So I'm sorry. I like kids. I know that there are people who are just like, I don't know why kids have to be in every story. And I'm like, kids are adorable. Like, you just have to get like, and I feel like you could just have so much fun with children. Like in the sense of like at their expense, I mean. Like you can have so much fun. I'm not a parent. Clearly I'm an aunt. So like I'm the one who's like making fun of my nephews. I'm the one like picking on my nephews. I'm the one doing all that stuff. And then at the same time, like I'm not their favorite aunt, but like it's always like, you know, like it's not like they feel love, but I'm making fun of you the whole time. Like that's going to happen, right? We're still gonna do stuff, you know, we're gonna go like bake and we're gonna go to the pool and we're gonna do all this stuff. And if you can't figure out this blatant plot point that's staring you in the face, I'm gonna pick on you. I'm gonna laugh if you trip I'm gonna laugh if I've told you 3 times to stop, like if they're running or something, and I keep telling them like the road is really, like if we're taking a walk and they're running and they're doing all kind of drama, and I'm just like, babes, like you can't be doing all of that. You need to pay attention to the road because it's uneven, right? You have like trees coming up, all kinds of stuff. Like I trip all the time, so you can't be doing that. You need to be careful. Right. If I say it more than 3 times, or if I have to say it 3 times, the first time you hit that road, I am going to start laughing. I'm not even going to be concerned about you. I'm going to start laughing. Am I going to pick you up and see if you're bleeding? Sure. But I'm going to make fun of you that whole time. You are not going to live that down for the rest of the time that you're with me. I may bring it up a month later about that. He's like, remember that one time you nearly ate the sidewalk? Remember that? Remember how awkward that looked? You know, like that is who I am. So
Oh
my parents are
my
going to
god.
be along those lines. My parents are going to be making fun of their children. They're going to be poking fun at those kids all day, all night. Like they're
I
going to be little
love it.
rascals. That's
Oh,
how
I
we do it.
can't wait to read the epilogue. I gotta read the epilogue now. It just sounds
Yeah.
so fun.
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
and Terry asked a really good question.
Mhm.
Oh wait. Oh, well, okay. Let me get to that one, Terry. Who is making your covers? I was going to ask you along the same lines. Like, do you get any input into your covers, or what do you know?
So I do. I was really I never like normally when I see Dragon Blade covers, like they don't look anything like this. So I wasn't sure what I was gonna get, but I did tell them that I wanted for these, I wanted I kind of like focusing on the women. I kind of wanted them front and center because again, it's the troublemakers were even though the men are also troublesome, it's the girls.
Yeah.
It's these three friends. So I
Yeah.
wanted the girls to be on the covers. And I
Yes.
wanted some kind of like symbolism with respect to their backgrounds. Because I was told by a friend that like I was told by another writer that they like doing stuff like that and like having it be a sort of like a trademark or something. And I was like, sure.
Oh.
And you can't see the back of them, but I would love if you could. But in the for Ada specifically because she's Chinese, like I wanted a bunch of I was looking up a lot of symbols in especially for like Chinese weddings and like little
Ooh.
things that they always because they're very not that you don't have that in like Western weddings as well, but Chinese and also like Hindu weddings, they're very heavy on symbolism. They're very heavy. Like everything is a symbol for something. Everything is an analogy for something else. So they
Mm.
have a lot of so for Ada, I wanted like lotuses, I wanted cranes, I wanted like they always have like double cranes and they're like because they mate for life and it's like they're supposed to represent happiness and like eternal happiness and like that bond of marriage and all the rest of it. And there were like lotuses and like all kinds of like things and peonies and like things like that. So I think you can see like a little peony like by for Ada, like you can see it like by her arm or something, or like on one side, like there's
Wait, oh, whoopsie.
yeah. So like right next to it, you
Oh,
see like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So you see like little things like that, like and they put it on the cover. It was beautiful, and I was just like, this is amazing. And
It
then
is
for
beautiful.
and I liked the cover, like the models that they picked. They're really pretty. And they were they came up with them very quickly, but I was surprised at how fast they sort of got it right. But I was pleasantly surprised. I loved them. And then
Yeah.
for Regina, because Regina's very tricky. Well, not tricky, but I wanted Regina to be a little fuller, like because the way I imagined Regina was very curvy, but she's very feminine. She loves her jewelry, she loves her dresses, she loves her silks, she loves all that stuff. But she also her dad's a military guy, and she also loves shooting. She loves sword fighting. She wants to be like a warrior queen. So like that's where her
Oh,
vibe is. So
so
I
fun.
wanted like a sword, I wanted like pistols, but I also wanted like mandalas and like flowers and like all that kind of stuff. And they got all that in there. I think like the girl or woman that they got for, I don't know who she is, but that model is like, she's exactly the way I imagined Regina. And like sometimes you have to go back and be like, hey, she's a little dark, she's darker skinned, or she needs a fuller face, or she needs like a little, like little tweaks.
Yeah.
But most of the time they're great. But she was like, I was like, she's outstanding. And I'm excited for y'all to meet Ellie, like see what Ellie looks like, but not yet.
Yes! In August, potentially.
Yes. Yes. August or late July. Late July. August at the latest, late July at the probably the earliest is when we're looking at that.
Yay! I love it. I love it so much. Terry asks a super question. We love this question. Would you consider writing older characters?
Yes, is the answer. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much. I don't mean like Yeah, actually, the spinoff with the governesses that I was thinking about was that it was going to be older characters. Like, yeah,
Ooh.
like in their like mid to late 30s, which is where I am. So that was the plan. I think like for me, and this is just, and it could, and I mean, it doesn't have to be all of them, because I also recognize that that's not a, it's not like sort of a deal breaker and for real, in real terms. But I think like a lot of times when I get sort of caught up in the sort of transfer, like the sort of like legal ramifications of not having children when you're a woman. So it's like, you,
Oh.
right? So like if she's
Yeah.
like, if the guy has a title, which I think a lot of people don't necessarily always like think about, they're just like, well, that's not always a
Yeah.
happy ending. And I'm like, that's fair. But if you're a woman, if you marry a man with a title and you don't have kids, that's it.
Yeah.
Like you don't, it's very hard for you to retain anything. You lose everything with your husband. And that's not, you lose your house, you lose like all these other things. You're not a dower. You're not a dowager anything. You didn't, it's essentially like you've lost your stake in that estate and that family
Mm.
and all of it. So you literally would have to start over. And to me, that being a reality of that woman, it's just, to me, that's not, that's why to me it's not a happy ever after. If you're talking about
Mhm.
something else, which, and there are ways around that, right? You can have like breaking the entail, you can have different things. I think with like viscounties and like baronies, because they're lower rungs, or like baronets, you can have those titles that you can sort of mess with it. So like women can inherit, so you can inherit on both sides. So you can inherit if it's like a girl or something. But there's also it's instances like in Downton Abbey where you can like break an entailment, where you lose the title but you can keep the property and like pass it on to a
Mm.
girl if you want, or you can, but I mean at the same time, or you can determine who inherits it more than that. Because if you're not giving it to your son, like who are you leaving the property and the estate to? And then you can leave it to whoever you want, right?
Yeah.
So there are ways around it when you don't, when you, if there's a title. But for me personally, that's why I'm like, and to me, if you're talking about having children, having the, not necessarily in the sense that I don't think older women should be having kids, but I think considering the time period, it just
Yeah.
gets very dangerous for them, because I mean, getting the flu could kill you because these people were like sticking leeches on you and all kinds of drama. Like age is like age is not going to protect you.
Yeah.
Youth is not going to protect you from the realities of having childbirth in Regency or Victorian era. Like chances are you were going to die and your kid was going to die too. But
Yeah.
like I feel like having them be like mid 20s a lot of times when it's that kind of thing, it's like it's just from in my mind, I'm just sitting there going, I don't want to increase the risk. But at the same time, I am I'm not against it. And I feel like because a lot of times you can write characters, especially when it's not a title or anything, like you can do whatever the hell you want. And they don't have to be like, you know, whippersnappers, and they don't have to be 19. I can tell you one thing, none of them are going to be under the age of 20.
Yeah.
There are going to be no teenagers in my books like doing anything. Like you all need to sit down. So I mean,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna be keeping them like they can drink in the modern day. Let's put it that way. They can drink, vote, and you know, rent a car. So
I was
that's
gonna say,
the right. We're gonna be
Yeah.
doing all of those things. But I think, yeah, I would like, and I'm kind of, I really kind of would like to get to that one, to get to the sort of like governess situation that I wanted, because all of them, like I
Yeah.
would love for, like all of them to be like, the youngest would be like 35, and
Yeah.
the, you know, the eldest could be like 38, like they can be 38, they can be even pushing 40, because it's sort of like, if you're a governess, you're already dealing with kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
nobody's worried about it, and there's nothing to inherit. There's nothing to worry about. Like, just make sure that, you know, when the husband's setting up your widow's, your, when you know what your widow portion is going to be, he just does a good job with it and make sure that you have a freaking house, right? Like those are your kids, right? So it's like, okay, well, we already got kids here. We already got I just have to be here and look pretty, and I can do that, right? So,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. Terry
So,
says, I think I only read one historical romance with a woman old enough to not have children, and it is very rare.
it is.
And another question, I would like to see The Secret Life of Lady Jersey or some dragon of society. Would you like to do that?
Ooh. You know, so I kind of already have a dragon in here. I already
Oh.
like so in Miss Mason. I mean, the problem is she didn't really have a happily ever after. So it's like, I'm kind of so
Ah.
it's not okay. But in Miss Mason, you meet Aunt Theo, who is
Okay.
who is the old lady in question who sort of finds Theo, and she is ubiquitous. She is literally everywhere. And it is one of the most frustrating things for Leo's character because he does he don't like he doesn't like her. He doesn't like her because he thinks she's nosy and she's pushy and she's sort of she's trying to twist his arm and get him to and pressure him into accepting this title that he doesn't want to. And then sort of
Mm.
fate starts helping her and he takes it personally. Um, but she is this old lady who sort of is from old money and she's sort of connected to all of these families. And as the book goes on, he's just like, why is she everywhere? Like, what is going on?
Right.
And she's this kind of, and you find out like she has these connections to like book one as well. And you're just like, oh my God, this woman really is all over the place. But
Yeah.
but to me, like in my mind, I'm kind of, which is why I would love to do like spin-offs or like, right, like
Yeah.
ones that are the later on. Because to me, these girls would be like the new leaders. That's what they would
Yeah.
be. Like,
I love that.
like Regina for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I love
Regina would absolutely like Regina is absolutely set up to be like as a baroness, like that is what she would be doing. She'd be doing that work, right? And because like Leo's on his side, like he'd be wanting to like push like worker reform and all kinds of stuff, and all this stuff is happening in the Victorian era, right? You have all these kind of worker reform and like you have stuff for like the arts, you have all these things that are happening and need to happen because the industrial revolution has happened and nobody's thinking about the people because why would you think about the workers? Like who cares? Who cares
Yeah.
about poor people? And Leo's like, me, because I used to be one of them recently, so I have a problem with this.
Right.
Like this is a problem.
Right.
And but I would absolutely, yeah. I would love to do one where they're all like in their 30s, mid to late 30s, and they're all like they're somehow connected to this. Like I would my plan is for them to sort of become like take over being the main sponsors or patrons of the school that they went to and like using
Oh.
that and sort of like starting to my mind. So that they would be sort of taking it over and making and then starting sort of like a division of like because not all the girls would be able not all the reality is not all women marry, right? Or you may have people who are like not all governesses can get good positions, right? But like if you had a school that like prioritized that, and especially when you have governesses and people in England who are educated and can and have something to offer, but they're not necessarily white, right? It's like, so how are you? What kind of position are you going to get for yourself? And like, I would like for them to have like sort of like a governess division of their school that
Yeah.
like it's like the governesses are sort of trained to teach the same things that they learned at school. So they would be teaching like Greek, they'd be teaching Latin, they'd be teaching all these other things. And it would be available to whoever's, whichever student they're, they're going to. So any family of the town, however they got in there, they would have access to education. And I kind of want them to be like, no, we're going to branch this shit out and we're going to infiltrate everywhere. Like we're going to be everywhere. just giving these old white biddies like anxiety all over the time. Everywhere they look, I'm like, that's right, babies, that this is what's going to happen. That's right.
love it.
It's
I
like
love
we're
it.
gonna take over and make your life a misery. It's gonna be awesome. Like,
Ah, that's awesome. Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I love it so much. Oh, man. Well, I cannot believe that we've already been chatting for over an hour,
Oh my gosh.
and
Yeah.
I love it. I knew you would go, and I was like, "I couldn't wait," 'cause I just love to hear you talk.
Yeah.
So before we say goodbye, I just wanted to ask, I know obviously, clearly, as we mentioned, tomorrow
Yeah.
is release day for Miss
Yay.
Mason's Secret Baron. Yay! To book 2 of the Troublemakers trilogy. What else
Yes.
do you have going on? I know you mentioned one signing, I think, that's coming up. Is that
Um,
right? Or
yes. So Steamulet is happening in the that's in October. There are a few happening in October, but it's like all the way in October. There's one that I'm trying to pin down in September. That will be on my website. There's another one I'm trying to pin down potentially in August that I would like
nice.
to do. June and July, it would be more. I'm trying to keep it like as local as possible because it's cheaper. Let's be real about that.
Yeah, really.
And like I'm not as well known as I need to be in my home state. So I'm still going to be. I mean, there's a lot of work to do to like make sure people know who I am because generally it's like
Right.
people are still like I have no idea who this person is. So I'm gonna be so that whatever local signings that pop up, they're gonna be some like I got like a book sort of like a book event, like a book launch, I think for this one actually that's coming out for Miss Mason. But it's going to be I think it's at White Rose Books in like late at the end of this month. So that's a thing. I just
Oh.
realized that I have to put that in my newsletter. Um it just happened.
Yay!
So yeah, I'm doing that, and there are gonna be some whatever book signings I can or like author events that come up between, now and then. I'll be sort of like throwing my hat into the ring and like just diving somewhere and figuring it out. But that's what I'm gonna
Bring
be up to.
bringing
That
your
and trying and
parasol.
yeah, me and my parasol. And there are a couple like there are a couple sort of standalone pieces. There's one that's getting set up in like for 2027, but there's one I'm gonna be pitching some because Dragon Blade has like the Lion's Den sort of
Yes,
thing. So I'm gonna be
yes.
trying to get like a book or two in the Lion's Den. So well, I don't know
Oh.
when they're gonna come out because I still have to write the damn thing and I still have to pitch to them and find out where the spots are. But that's the plan. So we'll see, how that works out. But yeah, I can't allow myself to not be busy for long. So I'm gonna find some way to ruin the
The
the,
free
the
time.
I'm gonna find a way to ruin the vacation that I've earned. So like I'm gonna run out of Chinese like Korean dramas, and then I'm just gonna be like, well, now I need something to do. you know.
I love it so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, so where can we look for you? For people that want to see more of you right now, where should they go?
So they should go. I'm going to be making people sick of me on Instagram for sure, and TikTok. I'm
Oh,
leaning hard into TikTok. We're gonna make it
nice.
happen.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's where I'm gonna be. I mean, I'm not really on not a takeover by the
I love it. Oh my gosh.
yeah, so I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be trying to post. I'm gonna try now that I don't have an excuse of being busy. I'm gonna try to be a little more visible on social media. Yeah, just trying to push things and
Nice.
hopefully see if
Nice.
that works to promote
Yay!
sales and stuff. But yeah,
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to follow you all
yeah.
summer and see the reveal and all the things. And congrats again on the book
Thank
coming out
you so much.
tomorrow. This has
Thank
been
you.
just a lovely night, and we've got to have you on again sometime.
Yes, absolutely. Probably for book 3.
Woo!
I will see. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'll stalk you, and if too much time goes by, I'll just be like, "Hello," you know.
I love that. I love that. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna say good night. I wish I
Okie
didn't have to
dokie.
go. I'm gonna gotta put my daughter to bed now.
Yes, go do that.
Real life
Okie
comes
dokie.
regular life.
So much,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. 네 편이 되어줄게. 너와 난 그렇게 웃어도 돼. 약속할게.